What is going on, everyone? We are here with another episode of the Spotlight series hosted by yours truly, ACK. Y'all know the drill at this point. We're climbing up over 60 episodes, just having a hell of a time, meeting so many different artists from all over the world and just from so many cool genres. I mean, whether it's country, pop, rap, R&B, just having a great time just hearing artist stories through music, because at the end of the day, that's what this whole interview series is about. It's about hearing who the artist is, what they're doing behind the scenes. And it's created so many opportunities, and it's so cool just to sit here and have these conversations. So today I would like to welcome Chloe Marie. Chloe, how are you today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you doing?
And not too bad. Obviously, thank you for taking time out of your day to kind of pop on here and do this interview. I'm super excited to have you on the show.
Yes, I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, so pretty much everyone always knows is I just kind of jump right into the first question. It's always the basic of basics, but it really just helps set up the interview. Because the first question is where did everything start for you? Because I know for some people it starts at such an early age, like they start humming nursery rhymes when they're young, and
Mhm.
then the songwriting and the playing and stuff all comes as the years go on. But then I always like to compare it to someone like myself who only just started back in 2018. I only started the songwriting and producing and all that in 2018, and then started this whole series in 2020. So that was only a few years ago. But kind of
Yeah.
where did like singing and playing and everything, how did everything come about for you?
Okay, so I'm one of those where it started way back at the beginning. I remember like my earliest memories of it were trying out for solos in elementary school. That was where I found my love for singing. I loved being on stage. It was just very fun. I felt comfortable up there. And I started actually songwriting like little by little when I was 8 years old. And it was just like so fun for me. It was a creative outlet. And after that, I remember like writing down on a piece of paper like an album that I was gonna release one day. And there was like 18 songs on it. It was crazy. But I wrote like six of them. So that was pretty fun. Um, Another like really early memory of starting singing was I had a karaoke machine in my room,
Yep.
and literally every day after school I would just come home. I'd put on, I think it was like 2000s hits country
Mm-hmm.
like karaoke CD, and I just put it in. I would sing Good Directions by Billy Currington like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing was, I didn't even know how the songs went. Like, I had never heard these songs before, but I would just sing to it like what I thought it would be. So, hearing it now, I sing it in my sets all the time, and I'm like, oh, that's how it went. Okay. Yeah.
No,
So,
I mean,
yeah.
that's just, it's so cool just to kind of hear these stories, like when people start, just because, I mean, you can listen to an artist song and be like, oh, wow, that's cool. That's a great song. Like they seem like a cool artist. Like I'll follow them, whatever. But it's always cool to hear these backstories and on how everything kind of came about. And I mean, obviously that gives a little more in depth if people go see your shows and they hear that song in the set list. Now they kind of know like the whole backstory on everything. It's not just another cool cover that you do.
Exactly. Yeah, there's like some meaning to it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, so it's always super cool. And obviously, when you said 2000s country, I mean, I just have to start kind of going to the next question, because talking about inspirations, I mean, I know I grew up on country music. That's what I
Mhm.
started songwriting and everything like that. And that 90s, early 2000s country was really where I get a lot of my inspiration from. Garth Brooks, Travis Tritt, Carrie Underwood, Tim McGraw, Kenny Chesney. Just, I mean, I could sit here for hours and talk about them. But just who are some artists that like you kind of really were inspired by when you started songwriting and singing, and just who are some artists that you really look up to in the business?
Okay, so mine are kind of all over the board. Obviously, Carrie Underwood is a really big one, but I was like very into Disney Channel at the time too. So Demi Lovato was huge for me. I remember like belting out her early stuff. I listened to a lot of Selena Gomez, a lot of Taylor Swift, um, Lady A. There's a couple, but yeah, growing up, I think it was very much a mixture of pop and country that I would listen to,
Yeah.
not like just country. And it was more of like modern stuff of that era. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and it's always cool because I mean, it's cool like that you have that mix of pop and country because I always tell people like never box yourself into one genre. Don't just say that you're just country. Don't say you're just pop. Like there's so many other doors that you can open and venture down when you have those inspirations from all over the board like you said. So it's always
Yeah,
cool to just hear people say like no, I'm not like yeah, as much as I'm a country singer or whatever, it's like I have all these inspirations from rock and pop and stuff like that.
for sure. Yeah, I agree.
And songwriting is just such a cool thing. It's just a really unique process. And I mean, I know for any songwriter, obviously you can probably attest to this, that there is no rhyme or reason to how a song is built sometimes. There is
Yeah.
never, I mean, I could sit here and I have sat here for hundreds of episodes and no one has ever given me the same answer for the third question. And I always just have to shout out Garrett Walker, who like kind of really put it into perspective. Is the songwriting process is like a puzzle, whether you have like 500 or 1,000 pieces. Again, how people do 1,000 piece puzzles is beyond me, but
Yeah, for
um
real.
you have like all these pieces scattered on the table and you're trying to figure out what goes where, and then eventually you start putting like the border together, you start putting the middle together, you realize that oh, this verse kind of goes there, this is the chorus, and then by the end you have this full picture, you have this full masterpiece. So it's just always a great quote that he shared when he was on the show, and I always just love giving that quote out before I ask the question. But at the end of the day, like you have a lot of songs out and you're working on a lot of songs. Obviously, we're going to hear a couple of originals at the end, but
Yeah.
what is your songwriting process like?
So, yeah, like you said, obviously it varies every single time I write a song. But I would say in general, normally I'll just be walking around the house or doing something totally non-related to music, and I'll just think of a title or a phrase. And normally it's something that can be sang or said in two ways. That's really big in country where it's like a double meaning.
Yeah.
So usually I start with something like that, or I've told people before I'm really into like alliteration when I write songs.
Mhm.
So like three L words or something in a phrase. That's what I'll usually start with. I don't normally go to the music first
Yeah.
just because I feel like having like a starting ground where either it's a title or a phrase kind of helps you make the music around that. And so usually the music comes second, but it is happening at the same time. Like once I have that title, then I'm like, okay, this
Yeah.
is what we're gonna do.
Yeah,
Type of
no,
thing.
and I mean it's so cool because like I mean it comes out of nowhere. It just like hits you some days. Like you could be doing the most random thing in the world, like not even thinking about music, and then all of a sudden it's like bam, that just comes to you.
Yeah.
And that like the word comes or like kind of like a little melody comes. I mean, I struggle sometimes when it comes to the melodies and stuff like that. I mean, because I'm
Mhm.
definitely more of the lyric person first before I start creating the melodies and figuring out how it's all going to pan together. But it's
Yeah.
just, I mean, it's so cool to always ask that question and see how artists go about things. Because, like I said earlier, it's like you could have a cool song out and be like, oh, Chloe's a great artist. Like, that's such a cool song. But you
Mhm.
don't know the backstory sometimes on how people really get into the songwriting process.
Yeah, exactly. And then another thing is like you don't want to force it either. Like if it feels like you're forcing it, it's never natural. Like it's not right.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
exactly. And I mean, there's so many artists out there nowadays. And I mean, I just, the lyrics that really tell a story is what I love when it comes from an artist. Like, if they, as long as you can sit there and just picture that whole story and just really see the meaning behind everything, like kind of how you said, like, you like to do things like with like kind of like the double meaning and stuff
Yep.
like that. Like, that's what I connect a lot with artists. And I feel like that's definitely something that makes you stand out from hearing some of your songs and stuff like that. And that kind of does lead into the fourth and question, which is always the hardest question and always my favorite one. I always literally every time I say it's always the hardest one, the artists always give that little like smile and grin, like they're like, "Oh, great, here we go." But hey, I always say like I'm like, thank God I'm the host because if you were to ask me this question, I'm still not sure if I could ever give an answer for it. But
Yeah.
there are hundreds of artists out there. I mean, obviously, you know the struggle of going to places and playing your songs and playing your stuff and promoting all your stuff on social media, which is a big thing because there's hundreds and hundreds of artists trying to do the same thing as you and
Yep.
trying to do the same thing as me and everything like that. And at the end of the day, what makes you you compared to all these other artists? What can we take away from your music that we can't find in anyone else's music?
Okay, so when I was making my very first EP, this was like 4 years ago. So I was in high school. It was my very first like big try at music. And I made a little like promo video for my EP, and in it, um, I thought it sounded cheesy at the time and very like basic, but I think it still stands true to this day where what I want people to get out of my music is just relation.
Mhm.
Whether that be in a relationship or uh I don't know, just anything that you can put in a song. I mean, you want your fans and your audience to relate to it. Otherwise, like what's the point in writing a song? Like I mean, I feel like there's so many songs that are so surface level, yet like they're so popular, which I think we need those songs too, like to have fun and have a good time too. But with my music, I want to write a meaningful song, and whether it be sad or happy or just about something that has happened in life recently, I would like the audience to relate to it the most.
Yeah, no, and I mean that's perfect. I mean, because I go back to the first song that I ever wrote, which is about my grandfather who passed away in 2018.
Okay.
And it's just the meaning behind songs and stuff like that. And I feel like the connectivity that you can reach with your fans when you have such a meaningful song like that, or just like a happy song or a sad song, is as long as you can connect with that one or two people. I don't care if it connects with a
Yeah.
million people, like that would be amazing. But as long
Yeah.
as at the end of the day you can connect with that one or two people, then I feel like that just makes an artist stand out because it's like you have that song that can connect with those other people that can reach that one or two people. And just the
Yeah.
meaning and the emotions and the connectivity, like I said, to have that with your fans and with people that listen to your music is super, super powerful.
Yeah. That's so important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously looking towards the future, which is kind of the fifth and final question before we get to the good part, is hearing a couple of songs by you.
Okay.
Is what are your goals as an artist? Obviously, you have some music out. I know you're working on some new stuff. You're going to play a couple of unreleased stuff for us, but
Mhm.
short term and long term, just what else can we kind of expect down the road from you?
So short term, so I've been writing a lot of songs this year, working on my voice, working on performance skills. I've played a lot of shows in this past year. And I think really just like short term, I guess I'm thinking like 5 years short term. I would love to go on tour with like full band, like that would be awesome. I was thinking about this the other day, and I actually don't have like a full album out, so that is definitely a goal of mine. And then obviously to play the Opry stage because I'm a country singer. So yes.
No, I mean, honestly, hey, that's perfect. I mean, that's always the dream, I feel like, is just to go on tour, play at the Opry at some point, especially if you're a country singer and all that. But it's just, I mean, you're a super, super talented. Obviously, that's why I had you on the show. Your
Thank you.
songs are fantastic. You're just a phenomenal singer songwriter. And
Mhm.
I obviously, when it comes to the future, I just look forward to see what else is going to come for you.
Oh, thank you very much. That means a
No,
lot.
of course. So obviously getting to the good part is hearing a couple of songs by you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kind of put myself on mute. I'll let you take the floor if you want to just let us know kind of what songs you're doing and kind of how these songs came about, because obviously I know they're both originals and stuff.
Yeah.
But other than that, the floor is yours.
Okay. I'm gonna grab my guitar really quick.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Gotta situate myself. Okay, so the first song that I'm gonna do is called Work of Art. And this song came to be because I was just, like I said, I had come up with the phrase work of art, and it was like a double meaning type of thing. And I really just started writing it about different types of art and explaining like the different variations of art. And then once I got to the chorus, I was like, okay, where are we going to take this? And I decided to loosely base it off of my boyfriend because the theme ended up being like love. So I turned it into a love song about art and about your significant other. So this is a work of art. There's a funny thing about putting pen to paper or coloring outside the lines. Brush strokes on a canvas, splatter paint in a big mess. They're kinda all alike, and they're all like mine. When God put you down on this earth, he said, I'm gonna put you with her. She needs her ocean eyes and your fluffy hair that sits just right. Baby, all I'm saying is you're nothing short of amazing. I've never met anyone more pure of heart, 'cause ideas come and go, but baby, you're a work of art. Baby, you're a work of art. I could draw the way my butterflies feel, or paint a picture on how this love is real. You've captured the photograph and framed it just for me. Words roll off your lips like poetry. When God put you down on this earth, he said, I'm gonna put you with her. She needs her ocean eyes and your fluffy hair that sits just right. Baby, all I'm saying is you're nothing short of amazing. I've never met anyone more pure of heart, 'cause ideas come and go, but baby, you're a work of art. Baby, you're a work of art. I could gaze at you all the time. You're like the twinkling starry night. If you could sculpt your hand in mine, I'd hold it every single time. When God put you down on this earth, he said, I'm gonna put you with her. She needs her ocean eyes and your fluffy hair that sits just right. Baby, all I'm saying is you're nothing short of amazing. I've never met anyone more pure of heart, 'cause ideas come and go, but you compare to the Mona Lisa or the Van Goghs. Baby, you're a work of art. Baby, you're a work of art.
The lyrics behind that one, because you sent it over to me before we did the interview like a week or two ago, and just the lyrics behind that one are just, they're beautiful. Like I love the lyrics, I love the meaning behind it, and it's just such a timeless song that you could just sit there and I could easily just have that on repeat for like hours. It's just such a cool vibing, like just melodic song. Like it just, I mean, it's fantastic.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Of course. So obviously you got one more for us.
Yes, I
So
do.
I will stop talking again. I will put myself on mute, and again, the floor is yours.
Okay. So this next song is very different type of voice for me. It's called Blame It On Where I Grew Up, which is in the Midwest. I grew up in North Dakota, born and raised, still living there, and it's all about blame it on where I grew up if I fall for a boy like you. So, all right, here we go. Mama raised me up on the good book, and Daddy taught me how to throw a left hook. I'm a wildflower side of my family tree. I'm a hand in the air on a Sunday. I'm a sinner in traffic on Monday. A little less stress and a lot more boots and jeans. Blame it on the dirt road, gravel down in my soul. Country in the speakers of my radio. Freedom of a wide open Midwest sky where I grew up, where I grew up. Blame it on a summer night, harvest moon. If I start falling for a boy like you, seeing my heart neath the stars above. Blame it on where I, blame it on where I grew up. I'm a sucker for some back porch picking. Give me some sweet tea, grandma's chicken. A day on the lake or a bonfire Friday night. Blame it on my homegrown history. If I let a country boy hold the door for me, find myself riding in a shotgun seat, too late to the county line. Blame it on the dirt road, gravel down in my soul. Country in the speakers of my radio. Freedom of a wide open Midwest sky where I grew up, where I grew up. Blame it on a summer night, harvest moon. If I start falling for a boy like you, stealing my heart neath the stars above. Blame it on where I, blame it on where I grew up. If I wanna put my roots down on 2 acres at the edge of town, for kids to dogs all running around, ain't no doubt. Blame it on the dirt road, gravel down in my soul. Country in the speakers of my radio. Freedom of a wide open Midwest sky where I grew up, where I grew up. Blame it on a summer night, harvest moon. If I start falling for a boy like you, stealing my heart neath the stars above. Blame it on where I, blame it on where I grew up. Blame it on where I, blame it on where I grew up.
I mean, Chloe Marie is just a vibe at this point. Like there's no rhyme or reason to it. Like you're just those two songs are just vibes, and like I just took all of that in, and it's just such a, like, again, with the same thing as the first song, you can just sit there and just listen to that song on repeat because it's such a jam, and like it's just there's nothing to critique about any of that. Like it's just
Oh, thank you.
great work, and I definitely can't wait for both those songs to come out. Like I'm just already huge fans, and I can see those blowing up easily once you release those.
Oh, that's awesome. That means so much.
Yeah, no, of course. Obviously, thank you for playing those two songs.
Yes.
Thank you for being on the show today. I had a blast talking about your story through music, obviously hearing those two fantastic songs.
Yeah.
Now, for people that may not know who you are, where can we find you on social medias?
Okay, so my Instagram is chloe.mariemusic. My Facebook is Chloe Marie Music ND. I have a TikTok that's also chloe.mariemusic. And then I'm on YouTube, and some of my older songs are on iTunes, Spotify, all the streaming services. So I also have a website, chloemariemusic.com. That's probably the first one, but yeah.
No, awesome. Again, Chloe, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to do the interview, play those couple of songs, and again, I
Yeah.
just kind of look forward to the future to see what else is coming from you. And I can't wait for both those songs to hopefully get in the works and be out as soon as possible.
Yes, I would love that. That would be awesome. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for having me on.
No, of course. So that kind of concludes another episode of the Spotlight series hosted by yours truly, ACK. Y'all know the drill at this point is every Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern. We got a new artist on here. You never know who's going to be here, never know what we're going to hear. So stay tuned for next week and appreciate y'all tuning in tonight.